No recording.
What's going on, everybody? Tello Talk podcast back again. Yesterday we just did a little shorter one. I did myself. Today I'm here, as I promised, with my two buddies, Cameron and Michael. Once again, they've been on here. It seems like they've been regulars on this show almost. Um, However, I always love having them up on here. So today we are going to be talking about what has happened this past week in the NFL. As we are 8 weeks down into the NFL season, a lot of things are what we expected, but a lot of things are not what we expected so far. Um, you know, so instead of just bullshitting it, we're just gonna excuse my language, but we're just gonna get right into it. Cameron, today, would you like to let them know what we're doing today?
Yeah, let me pull up the script real quick. So we're gonna go over all of the past games and that week 8 gave us, and then we're gonna talk about our biggest upset, best offense, best defense, the most disappointing and most surprising teams of the week. And I think that's all we're doing, unless at the end Bryce wanted to do pick'ems for week 9, because we do have Eagles and Texans coming up in a couple days.
Well, he is right on most of the part. If we have enough time, we will go to pick'ems. However, we're gonna get it started today. We're gonna start off with the week 8 games, and we're gonna go back to Thursday night, back in Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the game where the Buccaneers ended up losing to Baltimore 27-22. I'll start first. This is just a team. Baltimore just showed once again what they are as their running identity. They threw the ball 30 times in the first half. Apparently, that's what it says here. But they scored 24 points in the second half, and they ran the ball 26 times for 204 yards. They are finally showing that they are a team that needs to run the ball more and more and more, because that's who Baltimore is. They're the ground and pound team of the NFL. They're the team that's going to beat you with their legs. They're not going to beat you in the air. His wide receiver one's Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman's not going to put up 100 yards every week. And however, with Rashad Bateman, he got hurt. He ruled out second half. Same with Mark Andrews. Those two injuries kind of are a little significant to Baltimore, in my opinion. Those two being out could be a detriment for the Baltimore squad. Next week they go to play the Saints on Monday in New Orleans. New Orleans is always a hard place to play. If they don't play that game, it could be a trap game for Baltimore. Especially, and the reason I call it a trap game is because New Orleans is 3-5, but they're a good team in my opinion. Still, I think they have the capability to be a good team. And if Lamar Jackson has to go in there with Devin Duvernay as his wide receiver one, I don't see him really succeeding very much. And as for the Buccaneers, we're just seeing the age get to Tom Brady. We're seeing the age get to their old team. And I will say this right now, at 3-5, the Buccaneers don't look good at all. Devin White is the most overrated linebacker in the league, and I would not be surprised if they drop another one to the Rams on Sunday. Cameron, would you like to let me know what you think about Thursday?
Yeah, plain and simple, what I took away from Thursday was pay Lamar. I mean, the dude doesn't have any receivers, and he's kind of showing you, the Ravens are still able to win games, even though Lamar Jackson is throwing to little high school varsity receivers out there right now. And as for the Buccaneers, yeah, you kind of start to worry a little bit as they kind of dropped to 3-5, and a team that made it to the sorry, not the NFC Championship, but the NFC divisional round last year. Starting off 3-5 with the greatest of all time at quarterback, it's kind of, it just raises questions. And that's kind of all I have to say about Thursday night.
All right, and Michael, would you like to add on to what either of us said?
Yeah, personally, Bryce, what you said about the Bucks, Tom Brady, he should have retired last year when he had a winning season. Because to be honest, I don't think they're going to have a winning season this year. Because Tom Brady's he's getting hit with the age, and he's getting hit with everything this year, realizing that he is not invincible. And to be honest, retiring last year probably would have been the smarter decision.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this plenty of times. We both agree that that it could have probably been the best decision for Brady to retire at that time. But that's really it about Thursday. Another thing I want to do point out is that we found out the Ravens do know how to win without their two top guys. If you look at it, Isaiah Likely, rookie tight end for the Ravens, stepped up when they needed him to. So shout out to Isaiah Likely. However, we're going to move on to Sunday. The first game was a London game, Jacksonville yearly game in London. The Denver Broncos, Jacksonville Jaguars. Denver won this game 21-17. However, I did not watch this game. I do know the Broncos had a very bad game with penalties. They had 10 in the first half alone, and Russell Wilson just the entire year has not looked that great. But until that drive with less than 2 minutes to play, for that 80-yard drive to put themselves up by 4, and then the interception at the end of the game. This game really wasn't a team win for Denver. It was more of a team loss for Jacksonville. And the thing that I have to say is, obviously, I talked about it yesterday with Bradley Chubb being sent off to Miami. The Broncos needed to be more of a seller at the trade deadline, and I don't think they did enough. I think the fact that they only got rid of outside the Bradley Chubb, they got a pretty decent haul back, I would say, with the first round pick, but that's a little bit of an even trade in my opinion. The Broncos just aren't a team that I'm very promised on in this entire year. Everybody thought they would be Super Bowl contenders with Russell Wilson on the squad, and he just looks like Drew Lock. And next week they play the Titans, and I don't know how to feel about that. However, for the Jaguars, Travis Etienne Jr. Looks amazing. He's finally got the workload by himself. 156 yards. His game was so fun to watch. However, my problem with Jacksonville is their defense at the beginning of the season looked very promising. It has not looked promising anymore. For instance, Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the linebacker, had only 2 tackles, and he has 2 QB hits in the past 4 games. And the Jaguars pass rush is something that they live on, and that's something that helped them do so well against teams like Los Angeles Chargers. But he was practically just not there. And I mean, as a top 10 pick from whatever year, I think it was 2018, 19, you don't want that from him. And then Trayvon Walker too I just haven't really seen much of any of these guys. And that's something that you don't want as Jacksonville. And that's my big takeaway from Jacksonville and from Denver. Cameron, what's yours?
Like you said, it wasn't really a team win for Denver. It was more of a team loss for Jacksonville. Kind of felt more like it was a Trevor Lawrence loss for Jacksonville. 3 turnovers on the day, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Of course, the fumble was recovered, but I mean, like the Jacksonville offense just doesn't look. It doesn't look as explosive as it was. However, there is one takeaway. Travis Etienne, they got rid of James Robinson, so Etienne is the guy now, and he performed 24 carries for 156 yards, and that's really all there is to it. For the Broncos, however, for Broncos fans, this was a sigh of relief. A lot of Broncos fans kind of came into the day thinking, if the Broncos lose, is Nathaniel Hackett out? Unfortunately, Nathaniel Hackett is not out, but there's a sort of like momentum growing within the fan base to kind of push and see how the rest of the season goes, because as you know, the Niners started out 3-5 last year and they made it to the NFC Championship. So you never count out a 3-5 team.
I don't think Nathaniel Hackett is on the level of Mr. Shanahan, and I don't think the Broncos are as good as that last year Niner team.
Yeah, true that. But I mean, we've seen teams make runs in the playoffs that, preseason we wouldn't even be thinking about them in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's go with Michael. Got anything to add?
I mean, you guys really cover a lot of it. Not a team win, even though Russell Wilson did have one of his best passing games so far this year.
Yeah.
Still, only won by 4, and that was because they got a really good drive at the end and really lucky with that interception thrown by Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to the next game of the week, which was the Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers. This game ended in overtime with a Young Hoy Koo game-winning field goal, 37-34. However, the Falcons should have lost this game twice. However, but they didn't. They won the game. Standing at top of the division at 4-4 is a little funny to me. The NFC South has been nothing good this year, all whack. And something that's I see as a problem is Atlanta's defense. Despite being 4-4, they play the Chargers next week, and giving up that Hail Mary to DJ Moore towards the end of the game, and it was just a little shaky. Their defense has always looked bad in the fourth quarter. Especially we saw in week 1 when they were up 2 possessions against the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints came back and ended up winning the game 27-26. But the third down is their problem. They need to learn to get off of the field. The Falcons defense seems like it just doesn't learn from its mistakes, and that's their biggest problem for me for Atlanta going forward. However, congrats to them. They are in first of the NFC South, and for the Panthers wise, I don't know what the heck is going on. Even despite being 1-2 in the past 3 games with their interim head coach Steve Wilkes, they traded away their superstar Christian McCaffrey, but they're like looking solid. They look like a better Panthers squad. I mean, their one win's a blowout win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They hung with the Atlanta Falcons, and then they lost to, I believe, the Jets in the first game for the interim head coach. The thing is with PJ Walker, the way he was kind of playing is he, besides the first half, he did pretty decent. I mean, the second half, he had a pretty good second half. He had that great throw. It was a perfect throw. But the thing is like, what do the Panthers do? Because they've got P.J. Walker, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and they've got Matt Corral, who has yet to even touch the football field. Which, I mean, Sam Darnold hasn't touched the football field really either. This is where you go and you look at the Panthers and say, what are you guys doing at quarterback? I mean, you're already given up. You gave away your superstar player, but what are you doing at quarterback? And that's their biggest problem for me is what are they going to do at quarterback for the years on? And are they going to finally say, hey, maybe it's time to go to the future and give Matt Corral his time?
Yeah, and kind of as you were saying, with the Panthers and whatnot, PJ Walker has kind of shined, and so has Marcus Mariota. So this game was, I mean, not a lot of, I mean, if you're watching this game, like you're watching it because you're a fan of of someone in the NFC South. Of course, if the Falcons ended up losing this game, like they probably should have, the entire NFC South would have been in a 4-way tie for first place at 3-5, which if you're a football fan, that's kind of what you like to see. On the game though, Marcus Mariota was really good, other than 2 interceptions. He's kind of started to light up. A couple weeks ago against the Niners, he played really well. He's been running the ball well. However, he does kind of still have that sort of like young, like he makes the mistakes that like any rookie would make. He slings the ball into like really contested coverage, and that's why he does have those like 2 interceptions and whatnot. Um, what's up?
Rookie decision making.
Yeah, he still has rookie decision making. That does kind of come from like not having as much time in the NFL, or playing time, that is. Um, However, the real story about this game was the greatest Hail Mary pass I've ever seen. And what do you guys think about DJ Moore getting called for the what's the call? It's
It was in sportsmanlike. It was
yeah,
acceptable.
unsportsmanlike.
I
So the helmet was off in the back of the end zone, and the rule book does say if it's taken off in the back, like it isn't like unsportsmanlike, but
I
like I don't know.
what I would say for that was I still think keep your helmet on. You don't need to take it off. If you want to take it off, go to the sideline. Then you can go take it off and do whatever you want. But especially from a guy like DJ Moore who hasn't, I understand like maybe had a little bit of a fire under him where he's like, finally I'm actually getting the ball, and it was a little pissed off. But I just think you need to keep your helmet on there. I don't know what you think, but that's what I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, once I get celebrating and everything, or whatever happened, because I fully wasn't watching that game at the end because I thought it was over when it started. But either way, just keep it on. It's football. You want to keep it on just in case, because I mean, there have been multiple times to where people have taken off helmets and then gotten injured, or even just like that one incident a while ago where there was this fight and someone got their helmet ripped off and they got smacked with the helmet. Like, just keep it on. You never know.
True. That's a very good point, actually. Didn't really think of that. Um, However, we will move on to the next game. Congrats to the Falcons and best of luck for the Panthers next week, although I hope both of them lose. Next week, we've got the next game. Sorry, we have the Minnesota Vikings 34-26 against Arizona. The biggest thing I really want to talk about from this one is the Vikings are starting to look legit. Like they're starting to look like an actual good team. But here's the thing: what they need to do um, is their defense, in my opinion, needs to still kind of keep on stepping it up more and more. This game probably could have been won by more than one possession. However, the biggest thing I want to take from this is DeAndre Hopkins is acting like he never left, like he never got suspended. In the 2 weeks that he's played, he leads the league in those 2 weeks in receptions and yards. This dude is a top 5 wide receiver, and people are forgetting that. And it's crazy the fact that he comes back and he's already making that big of an impact. The Cardinals I think they have a 3-5, 2-4, 2-6. They're terrible this year. But don't expect them to be like this for much longer because they're starting to get their stride, I think. If they can get their stuff going in the early parts of the game and not only in the second half, this team will be a dangerous team.
Hmm. Yeah, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, that connection, it's looking like, it never faded at all. It looks like DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been suspended at all. Um, he had 12 receptions against the Vikings. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. However, the Vikings, you kind of start to ask the question of like, the question before this week was, oh, the Vikings haven't played anyone good, like, are they legit? And then they do play a team like the Cardinals who aren't necessarily the best, but still not a gimme. And it was kind of a dogfight. Should have been the closer kind of implies like how it should have been like, or sorry, the score does not imply how the game actually was. Vikings were up pretty good for the most part of the game, and Kirk Cousins is an MVP quarterback whenever he plays at 1 p.m. or sorry, or 1 p.m. Eastern. Whenever he has a morning game, he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Very true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we saw a wide receiver, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, to be honest, not being suspended, it's a big thing. But I mean, as we saw with this isn't like fully related, but we saw Devontae Adams push that cameraman. He also didn't get suspended. I feel like it's because they're like superstars, and the NFL really doesn't want to take them out. And I mean, because when you hear DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams, you know who they are, whether or not you watch football or not. You know who Devontae Adams is, and you know who DeAndre Hopkins is.
True. Another big thing that you could also say, for example, is like the Alvin Kamara situation from last year. He didn't even get suspended for his incident in Las Vegas. And we'll talk about Alvin Kamara later. I know Michael will love to talk
Sadly.
about that.
Child.
But we'll move on to the next game, the Dallas-Chicago game. I'm not going to say really much other than Tony Pollard looked like an absolute offensive machine. I've been saying he is a running back one on a team that he can play. He gets his chance on. And this 1 week without Zeke proved that Tony Pollard is a good running back. And I mean, hey, the Cowboys are 6-2 now. And that is very good for them. I mean, and they just looked good the entire game, but their run defense did not look good. That is one thing I will say. Offense starts to look like it's improving right now, with having 240 rushing yards on Sunday.
Yeah, but the Bears, that's really all they have done all year is run. Like, that's all Justin Fields is run the ball himself, or all he does is hand it off to Herbert. That's all he does.
That's true. Fields had a total of 3 touchdowns, two in the air. He had 23 passes this game, which isn't a lot for most quarterbacks, but for Justin Fields and their game plan, it is. I like starting to see that they're starting to know what to do. They gave the Dallas Cowboys 29 points. As Chicago scored 29. That is the most given up by this Cowboys defense so far. However, with the Bears defense, the Bears offense getting a lot of rushing yards, the Bears rushing defense has been lacking, as with Tony Pollard's 3 touchdown, 131-yard game. It's just like, as it says here, on 2 of the touchdown runs by Tony Pollard, he went untouched.
Yeah,
Wow.
Tony Pollard. I mean, even then, like, you can't be mad at that. Tony Pollard, he's not like top tier, but he's a pretty good running back, to be honest. And you can't ignore him because if you let your guard down, he'll run right past you and score a touchdown. And that's exactly what happened in the Bears game. They let their guard down and they allowed him to score 3 touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for forever now, everybody's been saying, like, start Pollard, Tony Pollard is the guy. And, this was kind of the game, like, Tony Pollard, is he going to show us, like, that we should be starting Pollard and they shouldn't be splitting reps. And, he kind of went out there and, he kind of did do that right there. And, 14 carries and 3 touchdowns for, 131, like, just had himself a game. And he almost went for a 4th one, but he was tripped up by the laces, unfortunately. So, like, it kind of raised, I don't know. Tony Pollard and Zeke, are they gonna split reps moving forward? What do you guys think?
Personally, I think they won't as much. I still think it'll be kind of majority Zeke, but with Tony Pollard, I think Tony Pollard does deserve more of an opportunity to do.
I agree. I think they're still going to stick with Zeke, but Tony Pollard, I feel like, is going to get some more playing time after the run that he put up to yesterday, 3 days ago.
Well, if we're done with this game, we're going to move on to the next game. It's going to be Miami and Detroit. Just delaying the inevitable for you, Michael.
Thank you.
Miami 31, Detroit 27. Miami is looking pretty. I'd say Tua looked amazing. That's all I got to say. 382 yards, 3 touchdowns, 29 of 36. He looked incredible. And I mean, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both had 100 plus in the 3rd game they've had this is the 3rd game where they both had 100 plus this season. I think Miami looks great. However, they need to have a healthy secondary. Their secondary has had that problem of being injured, and they have a great defense. I mean, their defense is amazing. They've got a very aggressive, blitz-heavy scheme, and then especially with the addition of Bradley Chubb now, it makes it even better. But they just need to make sure to stay healthy. That's the big thing with Miami. I mean, they were undefeated. They were one of the last teams to be undefeated until obviously Tua got hurt. And then for the Lions, the whole fun the Lions are going to be good this year thing, it's over. The Lions are going to they're still the Lions. They just got to learn how to they just got to play. I mean, they didn't score any points in the second half. They just don't look like a good team at all. That's
Yeah.
really all I got to say about Detroit.
Yeah, the Lions. The Lions still no defense, unfortunately. Jamal Williams has kind of started to look good though. Jared Goff still playing at a fairly high level. The Dolphins. I mean, a lot of people said that Tyreek Hill wasn't gonna be as good without Pat Mahomes. They were like, Tyreek, why are you saying that Tua's the more accurate passer? Like you're a goofball. You're gonna be ass this year. Tyreek Hill is on pace to break the all-time receiving record, and it's not even by a little bit. He's going to smash it from
What's
if
the all-time
if
receiving
he keeps on
record?
receiving at the level that he's been getting yards, and it's mostly yards after catch. I mean, and we're sorry. I meant to say it's not mostly yards after catch. It's mostly deep balls that Tua is launching. I mean, you saw it against the Ravens when they rallied back and scored 21 points in the final fourth quarter, and it happened again today. And Tyreek, Tua, and then you had Jalen. Yeah, you just had Jalen Waddle in the mix, and then you got a real problem facing the Dolphins. Nobody wants to
Uh,
face the Dolphins when the
Cam,
Dolphins
what's
are
the
healthy.
record currently for receiving yards?
It is owned by, I believe, Calvin Johnson still.
Yeah, it's by Megatron at 1962.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I think he has. I think it's at 1962, and I think Tyreek's on pace for 21,
Because Tyreek
2150.
is 1964, and
Yeah,
Tyreek
19,
has
almost 1,000, right?
he does not have 1,000. He has on this year so far, he has 961 receiving yards.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Right there. I mean, and it's week 8. They've still got 9 more games to go, and he's only 1,000 yards away. I mean, Tyreek Hill is a guy who can do that. He can get all those yards.
Yeah, when Tyreek is getting 12 receptions and almost 200 yards a game, he can do it. I can see Tyreek being that guy who is able to beat a record because Tyreek, he's just good this year. You can't dispute that. Tyreek is a new man this year, and he's learned, he's adapted, and he's unstoppable.
Here's my biggest thing though is you look at his stats. He's got a trend. Week 1 under 100 yards. Week 2 190. Week 3 under 100 yards. Week 4 160. Week 5 under 100. Week 6 177. Week 7 under 100. Week 8 188. So literally every other week he has 160 plus yards.
it makes you kind of wonder how he would be if he was consistent.
It does.
And
Yeah.
a couple of those weeks he didn't have Tua, of course, though.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure Tua, he was 1 for 2 on blow up weeks, when Tua wasn't in there, or 2 for 2.
The game against the Bengals, he had 160, and then the game against the Jets, he had 47, and then
Yeah,
the
that
game,
was the one with Skylar Thompson.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you kind of question, what if he was consistently putting up these numbers, which theoretically, isn't kind of impossible, right? Putting up 180 yards a week, but
very hard.
the fact that he's even still in the conversation for breaking this record, even though he's had these awful weeks, or whatever, or not awful weeks, but lackluster weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah, but all I want to say is though, even though we're talking about the Dolphins, I just want to point out the Lions, they're not good, but they have a lot of high scoring games. Most of their games they've played this year haven't been low scores. They've been decent. They've kept up with who they're playing.
That is true.
Besides against the Patriots and the Cowboys, but against the Seahawks, 45 points. Commanders, 36. Eagles, 35. And this game, 27. Most of these games are within 1 or 2 touchdown scores. They're keeping up with them. They just can't do anything to stop them from getting that final run and losing the game because of it.
It's their defense that's costing them the games.
Yeah, their offense is good because obviously they're keeping up, but their defense is costing them all of these other points that's causing them to lose by 3, 4, 5 points.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
just
couldn't have said it better myself.
you did say that very well. But we're gonna move on to the next one. I'll actually let Cameron. Cameron, I'll let you start off what you think of this. It's gonna be the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets. 22-17 was the final score of the New England victory. Cam, you can take it from there.
Yeah, Zach Wilson did not look good in this one at all. It was kind of the Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson game. Running the ball, really nothing there. Ramondre, sorry, did his usual thing. But as far as it goes, quarterback play in this game, it wasn't like, it was kind of like your typical like Patriots versus Jets game. The Jets still have failed to beat the Patriots for I think it's like 4 or 5 years now. They've lost to the Patriots like every single time they played them, which is twice a year. Um, but yeah, no, Zach Wilson didn't look good. Just didn't really spread the ball that well. And of course, Brees Hall was out in this one, so kind of took a hit to their run game. Only 15 carries for 51 yards. Of course, James Robinson, they just pulled him in. He did play in this game, but to the extent of not knowing how or not knowing the full playbook, and being brand new, only saw 5 carries, and that's really, I mean, well, the question for me to you guys is, are the Patriots legit? And do you think that they could potentially later in the year cause trouble within the division?
If Mac Jones stays consistent with what he should be, I agree. I think so. Because Mac Jones, he's been on and off this season. Like some games he does good, but other games he does terrible and he gets replaced.
Yeah.
Price?
Like Mac Jones, he's like good, but he's not consistent enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I'm in the same boat as you, Michael. You look at his rookie season; he had a very consistent, very good rookie season. Made the Pro Bowl. 10-7 record too. Almost gave the Bills a run for their money for the division. And it's really just been the problem of inconsistency going on so far. If he keeps that if he can get it to be consistent, I don't think that they would have to worry as much as an offense on their run game because I mean they run the ball so much a game, and I think a little bit of that is one the way Belichick likes to play football, and two Mac Jones' inconsistency. However, if he learns to keep it up and step it and be more consistent like he was his rookie season, this team will shake up the AFC East. I mean, every team in the AFC East is at least 500 or above, with the Patriots being in last at I believe 4-4. And then the Jets 5-3, Dolphins 5-3, and then Bills 6-2. But my thing for the Jets is Zach Wilson needs to grow up. He just 3 interceptions. He just does not make good decisions at all.
Under
Bill Belichick,
50% completion. Like
yeah,
I
it's
mean, he had a lot of yards. I will give him that. Almost 400 passing yards or almost 350, 400 total yards. Like he didn't do like bad, but
yeah.
he also did bad.
It's that rookie decision making that we were talking about at the beginning with Marcus Mariota.
Yes,
We see a lot of it with Zach Wilson.
and the thing is Wilson isn't a rookie anymore.
Yeah.
So he can't have that excuse. He's had that full rookie season. He needs to learn how to adapt. And it just looks like he hasn't really learned how to adapt to tough situations. And as if you were a Jets fan, I'd be pissed off right now. I'm like, what are you doing? We were doing better with Joe Flacco at quarterback because he wasn't throwing 3 interceptions a game. But it's like another thing for them is it's not going to get any easier. They play Buffalo next week. But it's just another story of not Tampa Bay, New England. Sorry, it's just another story of New England beat New York. It's just always going to happen.
Um,
So
It's been
we'll move
happening
on.
for 5 years.
It's gonna happen for a long time. So let's move on to the next morning slate game. The only undefeated team in the NFL, still the only at 7-0. Now the Philadelphia Eagles won 35-13 against Pittsburgh. This is what I was expecting. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone was expecting the Eagles to do good because, they're not good. The
Mhm.
Steelers, they're not good.
Yes.
Mitch Trubisky,
Yeah.
disappointing as usual, like he was for the Bears. Reason he got traded. Stupid man.
I will say A.J. Brown. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What a game. 6 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just an absolute beatdown and just destroyed the Steelers defense. I mean,
Yeah.
at this rate, they're a 7-0 squad. The next 3 teams they have to play are Houston, Washington, and Indianapolis. This team is
All of
legitimately
them are easy wins.
this team has the serious chance of going 10-0, starting the season off 10-0.
They have a serious chance of going 17-0.
They don't really play much good
Yeah,
team.
the rest of the season is nothing that bad for the
They're
Eagles
going
at all.
16-1, one loss to the Saints.
No,
I'm just kidding. But
they're not losing his hands.
this team is the most complete team right now. An amazing offense, a shutdown defense. It's just, what else do you need to see from them? What, all of a sudden the kicker's going to start kicking 70-yard field goals? Like, this team crazy. It's crazy to watch. And I know I've pointed out multiple times in episodes, but just like the fact that Cam and I were talking about it back in February and it's happening in real life is just like it just like
Mind-boggling.
it makes me feel like I was like I'm psychic. It makes me feel like a
Yeah.
Genie.
teller.
We're NFL professional analysts.
We're fortune tellers,
We're
Cameron.
fortune tellers.
Fortune tellers.
We can see the future. We definitely knew that the Eagles were going to trade for A.J. Brown draft night.
Yeah, we knew Traylon Burks was going to draft that pick as well.
Yep. Yeah.
But,
Hey,
yeah.
man, I mean, they're saving quite a bit of money, and I mean, props to them, I guess. But A.J. Brown is a
Jalen
dog.
Hurts he's just so impressive. I mean, you
Jalen
can't even
Hurts-
be mad at him. 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, he's so good at understanding situations and realizing when he has a pass and when he doesn't. Like, he understands when someone's covered, he can throw it away too. He doesn't panic. He doesn't really get under pressure that much. And when he does, he throws it away or he figures out a way to somehow make a pass complete.
Yeah,
Whether or not it's for 1 or 2 yards, he somehow manages to get out of sticky situations.
he does not make mistakes like players like Zach Wilson, Mariota, as much as I hate to say it, Jameis Winston make. It's just he's already got decision making as the third year.
Yeah.
As,
I think so.
so I love watching the team succeed, honestly. And then as for Pittsburgh, I think we all kind of expected it. Their defense looked awful though.
Mm-hmm.
They just have, ever since TJ Watt's been hurt, they just don't look good at all. And going into their bye week, they've definitely got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, 2-6 on the season. Like, the Steelers, I wasn't expecting much because, again, Mitch Trubisky not good. Kenny Pickett, he's all right, but still, it's nothing like objectively good to make them improve as a team. But when they're going against teams like the Eagles, who are going off a huge morale boost for being 6-0, it's hard to win.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to move on to, I think this might have been the last early slate game of the week. Michael, you know what it is. I'll let you start it off.
I don't want to talk about it.
Las Vegas 0, New Orleans Saints 24.
I didn't even. I completely skipped past the part that they played the Saints. I was like, oh my God, Michael's gonna hate this segment because of the Raiders. I completely forgot that the Saints beat them. Go ahead, you two. Go ahead.
What team, Cameron? we'll let you sit back and listen to us on this one. But Michael, since you seem like you're a little too embarrassed that your team got whooped by my Saints,
For lack of
um,
better words.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. I
yeah,
mean, Derek
no,
Carr getting taken off.
You're gonna have to, but I will start us off.
Go ahead.
Alvin
I'll talk
Kamara
after you.
is literally your team's father. Alvin Kamara is your team's father. 3 touchdowns on the day, all of our touchdowns, first, second, and third touchdowns of his. Just you couldn't stop Taysom Hill at all. I mean, Andy Dalton actually looked like a decent quarterback for once, not throwing 2 pick sixes. And this team is doing this all without Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Marshawn Lattimore, all these key players on their team. And you could see this could, in my opinion, this with a very weak NFC South, this game and that win right there off of a shutout win can help propel the Saints to get confidence and get that boost that they need to go on their annual streaks. Because they always go on every year, they always go on a winning streak. They always go on a winning streak. And this, I think, might be the time, especially because their next game is against an injured Ravens squad. Be on the lookout for the Saints. I know it sounds like I'm saying that because I'm a Saints fan. It slightly partially is, but it's also because I believe this team can be legit. In the beginning, going into the season, I thought this team would be 11-6, and there's still kind of a possibility. It's very hard because they'll have to go like 8-1, and I don't see that happening. But this team is something that's legit. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the league, shutting out the Raiders, making Derek Carr look like Connor Cook. Like, this game was just a great Saints game. It was their most complete game. And I mean, Alontae Taylor, rookie cornerback from Tennessee, shutting down Devontae Adams. That's not often at all that you see that. I mean, they made the Raiders look like
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it.
the
I
USF.
get it. I get it.
Yes. You got anything to say? Michael?
Derek Carr, he is I personally wouldn't mind if I just lost him forever because I don't like him. He's annoying. He disappointed me. Like he said in the interview after the game, that was an embarrassing game all around. Not even just for him, but the fact that their backup got almost as much yards as Derek Carr and half the attempts is sad, disappointing, embarrassing. Total, they had 183 total yards, 38 rushing yards because
Saints had 2 times.
yeah, I'm not even gonna lie though. The Saints, they were the best defense this week. They shut down Josh Jacobs because the Raiders they utilized Josh Jacobs a lot because he's good. And they shut him down.
They sure did. Cameron, I don't really want to. Yeah, it was very disappointing. Cameron, I think we're gonna move on. I think both me and Michael said enough. I don't think there's really much more you could add there, other than the fact that the Raiders got absolutely destroyed. Moving on to our late slate games, we got the Tennessee Titans and Houston Texans. Tennessee won this game 17-10. Derrick Henry once again, his casual semi-annual 200-yard game against the Texans. It's his 4th straight time doing it. I think everybody expected it. It's just he had 2 rushing touchdowns. He is now 75 career touchdowns. So congrats to him. My biggest thing to talk about, not Derrick Henry, was the Titans' defense. Despite playing the Texans, they only gave up 10 points. They've only allowed one play of 40 or more yards in the past 2 weeks since allowing 6 in the first 5 games they've played. They've definitely turned it around. They play the Chiefs next week, though, which is a little scary for them. I don't think they'll win that one. Not much for me to say about this game. I just think the Texans I think we all knew the Texans were going to be the worst team. The only thing that is a little upsetting is Dameon Pierce didn't really have a great game. But did we really expect them to have a great game against Tennessee? No, they're the worst team in the league.
Yeah. Titans versus Houston, you know that it's probably going to be the Titans winning it. You know that it's probably going to be Derrick Henry running all over the Texans defense. And that's exactly what this game was. Derrick Henry on 32 rushes had 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the thing about this game wasn't really about Derrick Henry, or it wasn't about Damian Pierce. It was about Malik Willis getting his first start. And did you guys really see anything from him that made you really
No,
that made you confident in
no.
what Tennessee is doing?
I think
Not really.
that Derrick Henry ran the ball 32 times. Not only because they were playing Houston, but it's also because Malik Willis is a rookie, and they probably didn't trust him back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think that the fact that he's a rookie and he only threw 10 times, and again, like you said, Bryce, you said it perfectly. They don't fully trust him because he is a rookie, and I mean he's not. He's good to understand that he's fine with that, but still Derrick Henry, unstoppable, unbelievable, so
Class.
good.
Derrick Henry
What?
math class.
Oh yeah, he's just good.
Derrick Henry masterclass.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next game, Cameron. I'm literally just gonna give this whole portion to you because I already know you want to talk for an hour and a half. I will cut you off if you go a little too long, however, because we still got more games to go, and then we've got a little other section left. But San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. The LA stadium looked like it was the
Rams
49ers stadium with
better.
how many fans there were. 31-14, absolute domination. McCaffrey looked like an absolute stud. Cameron, take it from here and go ahead.
Let me tell you guys the San Francisco 49ers passing stat lines for this game. It'll tell you everything you need to know about this one. And this is all I'll say about this game. Jimmy Garoppolo, 21 for 25. That's more than 80% completion rate percentage. 235 yards, 5 yards.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. A
Oh.
132 rating.
Mm.
Wait, but who's this other guy that threw a pass in this game?
Wait.
Christian McCaffrey for 34 yards for a touchdown? And everybody said the Niners got fleeced. You know what? Who are you going to draft that is going to throw you a touchdown, rush you a touchdown, and score a receiving touchdown? Who are you drafting, Bryce?
No
one.
Derek Carr.
No
You ain't
one.
drafting no one like CMC. CMC, I don't care if the Niners run him to the ground. CMC is going to carry the Niners to a Super Bowl championship, baby. Let's go.
Okay, that's a little far.
Yeah, that is a
Well,
big
It's week 8.
step up.
Here's what I will say is, Cameron, you did say last year you were talking about how they started 3-5 and they made it to the championship. They're 4-4 this year. Does that mean they'll make it to the Super Bowl?
Dude, they ain't making it to the Super Bowl. They're winning the Super Bowl.
Okay. But I will say about the Rams, they just look absolutely bad. They just look bad. But
again, like I said in one of the podcasts, it's just disappointing. Coming off of a Super Bowl win, you expect more, and they are they're like 3-4. They're negative. You would expect more from a Super Bowl win, but no, they're disappointing.
Celebrated too much. But we'll move on to the next game. I'm going to talk about this for a solid 20 seconds because I'm going to be honest. I did not watch this game. I didn't really plan on watching this game, talking about it either. Washington beat Indianapolis 17-16. The starting quarterbacks of this game were Taylor Heineke and Sam Ellinger. Do you really expect me to go and watch this game? No. Taylor Heineke, I love seeing that he's doing well. 89-yard drive with 22 seconds left to win. Just overall, not really a fun game to watch. But Ellinger probably will be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season unless he goes downhill. Jonathan Taylor does not look like himself from last year. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Colts looked really. I mean, Sam Ellinger looked all right. I'll give him that. Taylor Heineke just looked better. And, Taylor Heineke, unfortunately for the Colts, got the ball last. And, playoff Heineke, everybody knows what he can do. Drove the Commanders down the field and won that game for them. It really wasn't. No one was really watching this game. Terry McLaurin had a good game. That's really all the only takeaways that I have from it. Surprised that the Commanders did not trade him away though. So the Commanders think that they're contenders, is what I'm seeing.
They're not contenders.
I know, but they think they are.
Or maybe instead of thinking they're contenders, maybe they want to re-sign him or something. Because
Maybe.
I think they want to keep him because kind of really the only good person on the Commanders. But again, who knows? I mean, the fact that they didn't trade him away is indeed shocking. I was expecting him to be a trade deadline, but who knows what they're doing? Maybe they have a bigger plan. Who fully knows what they are?
They might
Mhm.
be burning. However, we'll move on to the last late slate game of the week. Seattle beat the Giants 27-13. Can we talk about that man, Geno Smith? That guy is a dog. That's all I got to say. That's really the end of it. He's a dog. I mean, they won this trade with Seattle with Denver
Denver.
at
Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
5-3, top of the NFC West. And then with the Giants, it's just they just can't. I'm pretty sure someone talked about it. I think it might have been Michael when after they beat Baltimore. You're like, they win a lot of close games, but it's time to see them lose a close game. And this is what happened. They were in a close game the entire game, and then finally Geno Smith got the best of them. So they're 6-2 going into their bye week. If you're New York, what are you thinking? If I'm New York, I'm thinking, well, we got to we have to have more than 46 points 46 total yards of offense in the first half.
yeah.
13 points isn't going to cut it, especially against a very surprising team in Seattle. Yeah. And I mean, it's just once again, Kenneth Walker too. He's proving that he's going to be an RB1 for a long time.
Mhm. Kenneth Walker looked really good today, or he looked really good Sunday. He did not as good as he did in past, but he's shown improvement. As for the Giants, if you're the Giants, I'm thinking buy OBJ, reunite OBJ with Danny Dimes, you know, form that bond once again. Maybe OBJ wasn't the best fit back then. Now that he isn't the number one target on the team, Saquon is. Daniel Jones is also running the ball really well. Daniel Jones being able to escape the pocket really well. Get OBJ in that mix. The Giants are contenders in the NFC East if they do that.
I like it. Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think with maybe OBJ wouldn't be too horrible because Saquon, he's good. He's really good. And he's not a disappointment. And again, I mean, still disappointing for the Giants before their bye week. They lose to the Seahawks, and I was expecting a lot more from them this week. But, sometimes teams just have bad games, just like the Raiders had a bad game against the Saints. I'm done talking.
That was just a guarantee. Everybody knew the Saints were going to win that game.
I know you didn't. You did not know that, and that will never happen again.
You keep thinking that. But that's enough for that one. We're going to head on to the Sunday night game. Buffalo won 27-17. I'm going to keep it short and simple. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, period. But they did have a season high 154 rushing yards. So they kind of showed that they can run the ball. They can run the ball too if they'd like. And people were looking at it. Aaron Jones had 143 rushing yards. Is the Bills' defense a concern? I personally don't think they are. The Bills' defense is a great defense. Going into after week 8, 6-2, they've got the MVP front runner. They'll probably beat the Jets next week too. My big thing is the Packers. is Aaron Rodgers just needs like a brand new wide receiver core. It's like they might as well just release everyone and then just get some random dude off the street and he'll do better than the receivers they have right now. Um, and it's almost like you kind of feel bad for Rodgers, but I don't, to be honest, because I don't really like Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. It's just they're never going to be successful if he can't throw to anyone. And this is really proving that Devontae Adams was something they really needed.
Unfortunately, Devontae Adams just happened to go to the one team that got shut out this week. Oh yeah, Devontae Adams only had one catch that game.
I know.
I
I
don't
pointed
know.
that out. Alontae
You
Taylor.
did?
You guys really don't have to point out that game every time.
Well, we're talking about the Packers.
Yeah, we're talking about the Packers.
Well,
What about the
I don't
receiver
know.
that the Raiders just got? That
Yeah,
really
well,
cool
that's the
receiver that's
thing.
really good?
What's that guy's name? Like Devontae Adams?
Top receiver in the
Yeah, the
league?
guy that I just bought a jersey for.
You bought a Devontae Adams jersey?
Hey, you
Of
have
course I did.
Low-key? Low-key? I don't know, man. You know, like, people are buying, like, CMC jerseys, and I'm, like, kind of thinking of it. I'm like, well, you know, like, buying a jersey of, like, a player that you guys just got, like, that's kind of, like, meat writing-ish.
probably.
You know,
I'm definitely
buy
me
an
riding
OG.
Devontae Adams.
Buy an OG player. Like, you know what? I'm buying a Niners jersey. You know what jersey I'm buying? Jimmy Ward or Talanoa
Jimmy
Hufanga might be a good
Garoppolo.
jersey purchase.
Just don't buy a Jaquiski Tart jersey. He blew your season last year.
Yeah, no, he's not even on our team anymore. He's on the Eagles, who are probably gonna win the championship this year.
Yeah, he's gonna drop a game-winning pick in the NFC
Dude,
Championship.
I hope so. That'd be hilarious.
Well, I know none of us really have anything to say about that Sunday night game. Going into the Monday night game, Cleveland blew out Cincinnati. My biggest thing is not Cleveland, how Cleveland played, but it's the Bengals looked awful without Jamar Chase. Is that going to be a problem for them? We'll find out in the next coming weeks. But they're 0-3 in their division right now, and that's not what you want when you are Cincinnati. Especially after making the Super Bowl, they're 4-4. They play Panthers next week, which should be an easy win. But they play like they did this week, it probably won't be.
Yeah, Cincinnati, you know, since Joe Burrow was seeing ghost in the backfield, Miles Garrett continues to completely destroy Joe Burrow. You know, I mean, Joe Burrow probably didn't go to sleep on Monday night because he was so busy thinking about how he got royally railed by Miles Garrett and the Cleveland Browns. As far as the Browns go, Jacoby Brissett still looking still looks really solid. You know, holding the position down until Baker until Deshaun Watson gets back. And Amari Cooper looked really good in this game too. 5 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. Saved my fantasy league because I was going against Joe Burrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
saved your week.
Yep. Yeah, dude. Freaking someone else in my league scored like 230.
Jeez. All right.
Kind of nuts.
Michael, you got anything to say about this Monday night game?
To be honest, there's a lot to say. I mean, just the Bengals, you expect more. Browns, wouldn't expect that much. But, yeah. I think we're still doing I forgot what it is, the best offense and all that. So I'll talk more about it then.
We're gonna move on to that. We probably won't go too descriptive. We'll just kind of point them out. Big thing that I need to point out, though, however, just came out. The police have identified and arrested and charged the suspect for the Brian Robinson shooting.
Really?
The old male was the one that shot Brian Robinson in the leg.
Wow.
He has been arrested. So it's good to see that he's facing the crimes that he committed.
Did you guys see that when he walked out after being
Many
out
Men?
those weeks, he went out to many men?
Yes, that is the best way.
Many men wish death upon me.
Yep. All right. So that's enough for the week 8 stuff. We're on to the last segment. We'll make sure to wrap it up kind of soon, because we are getting a little lengthy on time. So we got biggest upset, best offense, best defense, most disappointing, and most surprising teams. For biggest upset, I said Browns over Bengals. What about you guys?
What upset did I have? Hold on, let me look at that real quick.
I had best
I
offense
texted
at
you it.
Browns. Yeah,
Was that Michael?
wait, are we doing biggest upset or best offense? I didn't hear you cut out.
Upset.
Oh, I had Seahawks.
I
Seahawks.
also had Seahawks.
Yeah,
For offense, I had the 49ers, and I will say this right now, I didn't put the Cowboys solely because they played the Bears.
I also had Niners. CMC. I mean,
I
first person to
had
do it since
Browns.
LT.
And then Michael, you said you have what?
The Browns for best offense.
Browns for best offense. For best defense, I think this is a collective around everywhere. It's the Saints.
Yep.
Yeah, sadly.
And
Uh,
then disappointing, I think this is also a collective. The Raiders.
yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. And then finally, most surprising, I said Seattle.
Yeah, I said Seahawks.
Yep. All of us had Seahawks, I believe. Or no, I had yeah, no, actually you're right.
Okay.
So that is all of our things for today. We were running a little high on time, so I don't think we'll be able to do pick'ems. This is gonna be all. Thank you if you've listened through this the entire time. We appreciate all the time you've taken in today or
I
to.
love you.
We
Um,
love you.
I appreciate it heavily. It's helping me pursue something that I want to do when I'm older, and
He's gonna do like the Pat McAfee show, but like better.
Yeah, pretty much.
okay, it's
That
gonna be
boy's a
hard.
munch.
To
I
but
thought I was doing you.
but while Ice Spice is over here singing, I'm gonna wrap it up over here. Tune in. Make sure to tune in soon for other new podcasts. I know next week we'll be doing some mid-season awards and playoffs opinions. That'll be a great one. But that's all for me today. That's all for my guys today. And hope y'all have a great day, night, afternoon, whatever you're watching this. But we'll see you later. And Tello Talk out.